Tell us about your book.
Well, I wrote the book Black Massacres because what I do is I teach young people uh, really about character, man. But unfortunately, I happen to know a lot about history and other stuff. So instead of me kind of being repetitive and constantly telling people stories that I already knew, I decided to just go ahead and write a book. So I wrote a book about every black massacre because one of the dudes I was talking to was telling me about Black Wall Street, but he was telling me like it was the only black massacre that occurred. So as I was telling them about other black massacres, he really didn't believe like they had other black massacres that happened in this country, like Black Wall Street. And as the more I talked about it, the more he was just like in disbelief. So I said, man, I need to go ahead and write me a book, man, and just go ahead because American history has broke these black massacres out. And even though they wrote them out, they still in everyday history, but you won't find black massacres. You got to find these up. They'll call these things race riots. Right, but the difference between a race riot and a black massacre is when hundreds of black people die. You know what I'm saying? In the event of a couple of days. We talking about. New York City was the biggest black massacre, bigger than Black Wall Street. Nobody talks about that. They made a movie called The Gangs in New York. You feel me? That movie was about black massacre. That movie wasn't about no gang, no white boy, none of that. That was about those gangs. Both of those gangs joined together and killed all the black people. They killed 3,000 black people in about 4 days.
I ain't know that.
You see what I'm saying? But nobody talks about it. Wilmington, North Carolina was the first time that white supremacy massacred and killed elected officials and the government knew about it and didn't do nothing about it.
Yeah, by us coming from the belly of the beast, we got time to read and study while we incarcerated. But I just got your book, so I ain't gonna act like I just read it, but I'm gonna read it. But I went to Oklahoma a couple months ago, and I went to Black Wall Street, and I was devastated how white people they really were jealous of these black people having their own shit.
Black Wall Street, we got a black massacre in Texas, and the black massacre in Texas is similar to the massacre in Black Wall Street because most of the black massacres was behind the black vote. But the black massacre in Oklahoma City was about jealousy, right? Because we talking about Greenwood, Oklahoma. This is where a black dude came to Oklahoma with a vision, and he had a bunch of money. And what he did was he financed anybody with a dream, and he did the Maham the Mentor. And he gave them the game, and he showed them how to be entrepreneurs. And Black Wall Street became one of the most successful areas in that part of town, which caused jealousy. Those white people came and attacked them, annihilated them behind that. So we had the black massacre in Texas was in Slocum, Texas. So we had a black guy out here in Slocum, Texas that was balling out of control in 1910. And the white folks didn't like it, and they went down and they massacred it. And what happens in this time is you white folks came over here and they killed the people and they took their land, they took their property. The black dude in the black massacre in Texas had a cornmeal, he had like property. He had acres, 150 acres and all that. And these white people took it, and nobody addresses this shit. Nobody says anything about it. They just kind of like, well, yeah. And the white people went over there and they claimed their property and they paid the taxes and they took the deeds over and they took over. And then they sit there and they walk like normal people. But I didn't write this really book to condemn white people. I wrote this book to show us what adversity is and what we came from and what used to be normal and what's abnormal now. Because like I say, what they did to us back then, people would say, man, they don't do this. And Buzz being where what I know. And one thing the prison taught me is these white folks will try anything unless you stop them. You know what I'm saying? And that's one thing that kind of disappointed me about this guy, O.G. Percy, who claimed to be a penitentiary guy because, you feel me? One thing that I say is like us, when we go to prison, bro, we learn. I had to learn how to read. I was in special ed most of my life, from 7th grade all the way. I went to prison in high school. I didn't learn how to read till I was 22. I started college at 33. I graduated with honors in 38. I'm 44 now. So when I catch a nigga who say I'm a prisoner, I'm convict, I've been on the Ferguson unit, and I can't read.
How can the people find this book?
You can find it at my website at mahamthementor.com. That's MAHAM, the mentor, not mayhem. You know what I'm saying? MAHAM, thementor.com.
Damn, yeah, like just spelling bee.
Right? I ain't trying to make it because I see a lot of people make it. They misspell my name all the time.
Oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.